what about, so the main question that we have here is what's the total mechanical energy for a system in simple harmonic motion? Okay, observe here na hindi naman, wala namang, for a spring mass system, the only force that is acting on the mass is the spring force. And therefore, all the energies that are considered here do not have dissipation. And hence, mechanical energy therefore is conserved. And in fact, when you calculate the mechanical energy, it's just the sum of the kinetic energy. Siyempre, gumagalaw yan. May translational kinetic energy yan. Hindi naman nagro-rotate so walang rotational kinetic energy. And also, well, medyo weird na walang MGY dito, pero let's just assume that hindi dapat horizontal, vertical spring to. Horizontal dapat yan. Anyway, may reason bakit siya dapat wala dapat yung MGY dyan. I will not explain it anymore, but the only energies that we'll be considering here are just the kinetic energy and the elastic potential energy. Yung gravitational potential energy, hindi natin i-consider for now. Okay? Questions? Walang tanong? Wala? Walang tanong? Okay. Now, remember that since the total energy is conserved, what we can do is to determine and we know exactly the position as a function of time and the velocity as a function of time. Alam natin yung dalawang yan. And what we can do instead is to substitute it. So, pwede tayo mag-solve ng E equals 1/2 mv squared plus 1/2 kx squared, which is just equal to 1/2 m multiplied by A cosine of omega t plus phi, quantity squared, plus 1/2 k, mali. M times, okay, let me repeat it. Sorry, this is wrong. This should have been 1/2 m times minus omega A sine of omega t plus phi, ang nilagay ay yung position, plus 1/2 k quantity A cosine of omega t plus phi, quantity squared. Tama? Tama na? Gets? Nakuha? Okay, then after that, I'll just expand. So I have a 1/2 m omega squared A squared sine squared of omega t plus phi plus 1/2 k A squared cosine squared of omega t plus phi. Tama? Tama? Now, recall that omega equals square root of k over m. Diba? And therefore, k, bumipiyok na yun. And therefore, k equals m omega squared. Tama? Pero m omega squared to, diba? And therefore, this is equal to k. And hence, I have a 1/2 k A squared sine squared of omega t plus phi plus 1/2 k A squared cosine squared of omega t plus phi. And hence, sine squared to, cosine squared to, anong sum yan? Anong sum lang yan? Ano lang? 1. Exactly. So, therefore, the total energy is just 1/2 k times the square of the amplitude of the system. 1/2 k A squared is 1/2 mv squared plus 1/2 kx squared. That is the energy relation for simple harmonic motion. Clear? Malinaw ba to? Okay, again, kung mapapansin ninyo, okay, so let me just go to the next slide. So, the total mechanical energy is just proportional to the square of the amplitude. Okay, the energy is only proportional to the square of the amplitude. It should be the square of the amplitude, not just the amplitude. Okay, now, this is interesting because sa classical physics, the energy is proportional to the square of the amplitude. Sa modern physics, the energy is also proportional to frequency. In fact, in light. Isa yung sa mga differences ng na madi-discover when you take, for example, Physics 73. 73, ayan. Isa yung sa mga difference. So, spoiler alert sa 73. The energy is proportional to frequency there. Pero, for now, we have that idea that the energy is proportional to the square of the amplitude. And, sorry. At the speed, we can solve for the speed at any point. You can just cancel all the 1/2s here and then isolate V since puro K naman yan. So the V is just equal to plus or minus the square root of K over M multiplied by A squared minus X squared. Pakita ko na nga. So KA squared equals MV squared plus KX squared. This just means that I have an MV squared equals K quantity A squared minus x squared, and also therefore v is equal to k over m a squared minus x squared in a square root. Kaya ganyan yung form niya. Okay? Plus or minus to dapat kasi pwedeng magkaroon ng negative na velocities dyan. Okay, nakuha? We can also calculate the speed at any point using this equation. Questions? May tanong? May tanong ba? Wala?
Answer.
Essentially, yun ang kailangan i-discuss sa topic na to. Then after that, I'll just show you some problems where you can apply this equation. Okay.